Any of
don't
them
have that instinct automatically, because remember, some of this stuff is genetic. They either have it or they don't, right? This is what it's all about, people. Attack the boy! He must know that I'm in the dog fight with him. I'm next to him side by side. We have a bond that's unbreakable. Yeah, we in there. So listen, people come in. I'm trying to stream all this to everywhere. Yeah, we in there. Yeah, so no, man, Boom is the best, man. And
Jeez.
I mean, and I'm glad it comes in like packs of like
Yes.
7 or 8.
Yes. I seen it, and I went on Amazon and ordered, and it came in all these packs. I mean, it's addictive. No, he's using it. He got it. He's using it right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It's addictive. You know, it reminds me of the old Vicks. Remember the old Vicks used to do
Yes,
that? I was
yes.
an addict. When I trained, I was an addict. I would do that all throughout my training session,
So
man.
you got a bunch of sticks around there right now, huh?
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, I got them all. A couple of them used up right now.
Yeah. Now I'm like, how do we recharge it? Like, do we shake it up a little bit?
I used to always do that. I don't know if it works or not, but I used to always do that.
Oh man.
Yeah. I don't know if there's like a limit how often you use it, but I'd be pushing it.
I know. No, we're just letting people start to come in. But what's the weather like in Vegas right now? Is it cold?
No, you know what? It's actually changed, and it's been like abnormally hot. We've had a couple of like severe storms. Like Vegas will have like a storm for like an hour and it'll flood everything out. But actually, this week is when it's starting to cool. So it's in its 70s, which is cool for us.
Yeah, like in the daytime here, man, it's like 89, 90
Oh,
degrees.
really? Wow.
And then at nighttime, man, I was like, shit, may turn the heat on. Oh no, me and my wife, we're spooning in the bed. We're spooning. So
Yeah,
we're
no,
trying to
I'm
stay
looking
warm.
at the forecast. Actually, it changed. It said Friday it was going to rain, but now it's since Saturday,
Yeah.
there's a 70% chance of rain. But it's normally raining season for us right now.
So you have a Tesla. So how do you like the fact that you ain't never got to put no gas in that car, man? It's
It's
crazy.
crazy. It's crazy, but I tell you what, one thing that's misleading is like Elon would always say, wake up to a full tank of gas every day. You can't charge it full tank every day, or else it decreases the battery. And
Right.
then also another thing that I'm realizing is the battery depreciates over time. So when I first got it, I think it was like 347 miles because I got the the super fast one with the bigger
Yeah.
rim. So, but now when I charge it up to try to go to California, it's only like 290. So I'm like, I check what I'm like, is this normal depreciation? Like, yeah, that's normal depreciation of the battery. So that's kind of some misleading things that that they don't talk about. But yeah, overall, man, I mean, like no tune-ups, no oil changes, all that. It's been nice. Yeah, it's
Can
been
you
real nice.
can you actually like do a whole trip from Vegas to LA on one charge? Like, is that
Now I used to be able to do like from Las Vegas to Bakersfield, then I'd have to charge up one more time to make it to California. But now it's depreciated where I got to get a charge right at the end of Vegas and then another one in California. And then towards the end of, California, I got to do another one. But yeah, I can barely make it to Los Angeles now. And then I'll have to charge up. Yeah. So yeah,
yeah,
it's a trip,
we got
but I mean,
we got that Rivian
ah,
and it was like, dude, I'm tripping because I got rid of that car. Well, I had a Dodge Durango SRT and I drove my Prius every day, bro.
mm,
Like my Prius, people like, man, why you riding that little ass car? I said, that's a lot of leg room, and I'm keeping people out of my business. You know what I'm saying?
right.
So I'm driving the Prius, and the Dodge Durango was an SRT. I had got it because cars are cheaper out of state, like back
Yeah,
east, down south,
yeah,
than
yeah,
on the
yeah,
West Coast.
yeah, yeah.
And I bought it, and I had maybe put less than 20,000 miles on it in a 4-year period.
Yeah.
And so when I had the opportunity to get this Rivian, the Rivian price, it was in Portland. It was for like 94,000, 90,000, no, 94,000. It was used. I was like, man, when it's all said and done, that's 100 grand. I said, I can't do that.
Yeah.
It's 100 grand. And then I said, you know what? I don't owe anything on this Durango. Let me flip this Durango. Let me take this motherfucker to was it CarMax? I took it to a dealership, Carson Toyota. And Carson,
Carson.
yeah, Carson Toyota gave me like $60,000. So, and then I got an email from the same dealership because I was on their webpage and I put in the inquiry of my email. It sent me an email saying the car you're looking for went down $5,000. I said, shit, let me get it.
Yeah.
So I sold that car. I put the 60K on the I put 47 of the 60K on that car, reduced the payment, and I got it. But I'm loving it, man. It's just the problem with these electric cars is the updates you got to keep doing. Us
Yeah.
always updating.
Yeah.
Always updating.
Yeah. And you know, the other thing that's great about Tesla is there's so many charging stations all over the world. I know, like with all the other electric cars, what do you guys use? Is it called Charging USA or Charging America or something like that?
Yeah, yeah. But we
So
can charge the
all
Teslas
these,
now.
huh?
We
Yeah.
can charge the Teslas now.
Yeah. I seen that with some other cars, but I know before then it didn't matter whether it was a Cadillac or a Porsche or whatever. You guys had it, and the stations would be so long to wait. Because I know I rented my son electric car to drive from Fresno, California up here, and he's like, "Dude," he goes, "Man, it'd tell like a charging station. I'd have to sit there for like 2 hours just to be able to wait to get in." But that is a great thing about Tesla. I mean, it's especially all over California and Vegas. They're all over the place.
Yeah, yeah. Well, man, I appreciate you coming on to the show. People, thanks for chiming in and being in on this. Was it what is this? Wednesday, Tuesday? Is it Tuesday? This Tuesday.
Tuesday,
Shit, it feels like
yeah,
Wednesday.
yeah.
You know, I have the pleasure and honor to have Mr. Flex Wheeler online. Hold on for a minute. I just listen. There's another thing you need to realize about this whole thing right here. Watch this. When I'm gonna say this right here, why I have the pleasure to have Flex Will online to talk to us about his boy Zues.
Yeah, I'm excited about that, man. And you know, you're saying that you appreciate me. No, I appreciate you because if it wasn't for you, you know, none of this would happen. So
Yeah,
Zeus is amazing. I remember when you know there was a choice out of the dogs. I'm like, which one? And you're like, yeah, you know what, the Reds. You know, he's hyperactive. You know, he gets at it. I'm
yeah,
like, well, you know, I got a real docile, you know, dog right now with Achilles, but I'm like, well, let me get a hyperactive because I knew what I wanted him for. But man, he's off the chains. My boy is like, he's full charge all day, every day, man, all day, every day. But what I can tell is like, for him to be a protection dog, he's gonna be on it. He's gonna be
yeah,
on it.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the thing is too, and again, people, thanks for coming in. I know you guys are still coming in here. That when I tell people that, okay, so now there's a working Dobies and there's Dobies that are great pets, right?
Mhm.
And I specifically I intently try to breed for not only the looks, I love the looks.
Yeah, I know you like them dirty paws.
I love the dirty paws, dark markings, but I want them to be able to work as well as they look too.
Mm,
I don't want to have a big dog in my house and he poops more than me. He goes to the vet more than I go to the doctor. He
yeah,
eats more than me, and
yeah.
you don't contribute to the house. You're not. Come on now,
You don't pay rent. You don't do nothing. Yeah,
nothing.
yeah,
I'm like, dude, I paid child support for like 18 something years, depending on if I had to pay arrears. You know what I'm saying? And like, wait a
right.
minute, there's no way that I'm gonna have this dog up in here. He ain't gonna contribute. I said, no, but I digress on that. But yeah, man, I want to get into it here. So, Flex, we both had journeys. We both had our childhoods are similar in paths. And I'm from Mississippi, so back in the day, I'm sure you can relate. You know, people, your parents and your family. Oh, don't talk about it. It didn't happen. I'm like, it was
Yeah. Man up,
always,
be a man. Man,
yeah,
don't cry. All
yeah.
that.
Don't cry. Nothing's
Yeah,
going on here. Nothing wrong with your mom. I'm like, I'm looking at this going on. You telling me nothing wrong? And it's like, now it's like for me, and maybe for you too, it is very therapeutic to talk about my past to people. Like, yo, I came from a dark place and look where I am now. I'm still here.
Yeah.
You
No, I
know?
feel it's I feel it's I feel it's a necessity, especially amongst alpha males.
Yeah.
We need to be for real about our challenges that we go through, because other people go through those same things, and they'll, I mean, you've been there. You'll think you're the only one. Why is this only happening to me? It doesn't happen to other people. But I really appreciate, especially a lot of great actors right now that are coming out. A lot of high visible
Terry
pro
Crews.
athletes are coming out. Yeah, Terry, even a Rock came out. Michael
Yeah.
Jai White, who's a good friend, are all discussing this, because I know, like, for me, I keep thinking that bodybuilding is a really small sport. So when I meet these people and they tell me, like, man, I know who you are, I followed you. So first time that me and Terry ever talked on the phone, and he was expressing his childhood, I'm like, wait a minute, you know, I identified to you as a guy who never had problems, this, that, and the
Right.
other. So when he started talking those things, I'm like, wow, we had some wild similarities. And then, again, getting to know Michael Jai White, really well, and
Yeah.
discussing and talking to him. And I mean, I forgot where he said it was like 14 or 15 or 13 years old. He was out in the streets on his own,
Yeah.
and the challenges that he had to go through. But you can identify to their hardship, and then when you relook at them of the level they achieved, it kind of makes you think, well, they made it. Maybe I can too. And when you just plant that seed of just daring, just to be able to dream, all things are possible. But when you just don't, I kind of use it like this. When I was in church as a kid, and the pastor never discussed their challenges, and I'd
Yeah.
sit there as a little boy having all these thoughts, like, man, I can't identify. How am I going to be honest with you? But now you have pastors talking about what they really went through. And it was a church in LA that my boy Rico had hit me up on. And I got to know these incredible, faithful men. And then I started going to Bible study. And like once a month, they would just sit there and the leaders would discuss their challenges. And I'm like, wait a minute, what? You know, and then when you even go biblically, these great men of faith, all of them stumbled, all of them had challenge. I mean, you look at
Yeah.
King David, and him sending the guy out to die because he was sleeping with his wife. Yet God said he had the desire of my own. So I think it's really necessary, and I think it's also um, it's an obligation
Yeah.
to, when you've made it in any significant visible aspect, that it's necessary for you to discuss those challenges, because now you're relatable. You're a human being, where a lot
Yeah.
of people put us up on these pedestals for whatever we done. And it's like, this dude is unrelatable. I'm just going to admire his capabilities. But when they stress on the difficult times that they had to go through to get there, because a lot of people see the glitz and the glory. They don't see none of the grit and the glory. They only see it
Yeah.
where you made it, but they don't know, like, I have a friend, he's like, Flex, every overnight sensation is 10 to 5 to 10 years in the making. I'm like, that's so true, because people know of what I've done once I got in newspapers. But man, I had competed as an amateur for almost 6 or 7 years before I ever got noticed. But nobody people don't know that. So you're 100% right with that.
Yeah. It's interesting because I think the generation, our generation, and the generation behind us, I don't think this new generation of people, these millennials, could ever walk in our shoes one
No,
month.
no, no,
I
no,
mean, I
no.
mean, they couldn't. I mean, listen, I couldn't. uh, I'll tell you the difference. I couldn't wait till I got my driver's license to be independent. These
Yeah.
kids don't even want to fucking drive.
Yeah.
You know,
No, I agree. I agree.
and for me, it was like our parents, whether we knew it or not, was raising us to be grown before we were grown.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff that I went through, it hardened me for what the real world is. But I still
100%.
think, yeah, but I still think that I still needed nurturing, you know. By nature, I was needing nurturing from my mother, and that was never there. And the unfortunate part about that whole childhood experience, while my mother was battling from, I think it was the 70s, it started with weed, and then the 80s, cocaine, and then crack, and then in the late 2000s, uh, it took a toll on her health where she died from alcoholism. This is probably the reason why I don't do any drugs now, because I saw how it controlled her movement. I see how it controlled her decisions, letting guys come in and visit and spend the night. And I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? And it
Yeah.
was like, I understand that I don't think my mother knew that kids were actually recording all this mentally.
Yeah.
I really don't, because I wish I could have had the relationship that I have. Like, now that I'm grown, if my mother was still here, she's been dead since 2011. We can have these grown folks conversations versus her saying, "Stay in a child's place,"
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
I wish I could have had that, but hindsight 2020, we still battled with each other because we were so much alike.
Yeah. No,
You
I
know?
remember uh talking to a guest of mine on my podcast, and he was like, no, adversity, causes you to be able to deal with things. So all of us as childhood, and again, I like, so my mother and my father are still alive. I'm blessed.
Yeah,
They both are in their 80s, their mid 80s. And we were able to, as I became adult, to have that childhood. I had that conversation with my dad, like, why was you like this? And my conversation with my mother. And they came from that. My dad's like, listen, my dad never told me he loved me. He never hugged me. And that's that time that they came from. And a generation before that was enslaved. So the problem is, you have this generation that was raised a certain way, and they think that's the way that they should raise their kids. And I
yeah,
always knew that I wanted to break that cycle. I want to always tell my kids I love them. I always want to
yeah,
hug them. I revealed myself to them, because for me, I was aware that my kids from their parents and their friends are going to learn out who I was as an athlete. So they're not going to be able to identify that, because they're going to think, wow, he did this, he did that. So I wanted to let them know this is really me. So when I had health problems, I was honest about it. When I was struggling, I cried, and I let them know I was crying. I was like, hey, listen, it takes a strong individual to show those weaknesses, not a weak person. Where my dad's generation was like, no, man up. It's like that one movie that Denzel did, and
man up,
yeah,
man
yeah,
up.
yeah, 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 yeah. He goes, well, you didn't love me. He goes, didn't I not take care of you? Didn't I put
Yeah,
clothes in there? That was their way of showing love. But we're in a whole different generation, and I really believe that each generation of men is a weaker version of the men before them. I mean, you go back to the 1900s, they building all these skyscrapers. There's no freaking safety. They're freaking walking on these beams, sitting there with their legs dangling over, eating lunch. We couldn't do that now. I mean, you go back further than that. You look at the buildings that they built, in Egypt and Greece. I mean, you talking about these pillars that weigh tons, and they're
yeah,
20, 40 feet in the air. And I watch these specials, like, our strongest cranes couldn't lift those. But that
correct.
technology is gone, but that technology is lost. But it's really true. So yeah, you're right. This generation, what is it called? The Z or whatever, or
Gen Zs and the
Gen
millennials
Z.
too.
Yeah, Gen Z.
Yeah,
No, but the other thing I realize is I can't compare them to my generation. I can't sit there and say to my son, listen, in my time I did that, don't work. It
yeah,
doesn't matter. That doesn't apply to them. But that was our parents' way of saying that. But I agree, it taught us to be able to deal with adversity. At a young age, I knew how to clean a house. I knew how to cook. You
fry.
know,
You know how
I
to fry shit.
yeah, yeah, all that,
Yeah.
and knew how to keep my room clean. And it wasn't no discussing about it. It's either do it or get your job broke. I
Or
mean, but
or
that's
babysit. Remember, you were babysitting too.
oh
Come
yeah,
on.
and I mean, I won't get into it too deeply, but I know, like, kids now, they look at taking care of their sibling as a job, or I was their mother, or I was their parent. I'm like, no, you are their sister. You are their, that's what you're supposed to do. But it's different, man. It's so
Yeah.
different, sitting and talking to my kids and talking to them about parenthood and stuff like that. Their outlook on it is so wild, man. It's like,
Yeah.
where are you from?
Yeah.
Where did you get
Yeah.
that from?
Yeah.
But it's definitely different times, and I just don't believe that we can't compare. We can't
Yeah.
compare. We can't compare them or judge them. I mean, they have so many different things that are pulling on them now that we just didn't have. They have the internet where you literally have this device that's more powerful than the rocket that was sent to the moon in their hand. And
Yeah.
at any time, they have the power of pulling up all these various different things where we didn't have that. I remember, my mom would be like, go outside and play, be back before the street lights get on. We had no choice. Get out of the house. You
That's what she's
know?
saying, basically.
Yeah, get out of the house. Where now we got to worry about our kids when they're out of the house. Are they safe? Are they going to be molested? Are they going to be raped? Are they going to be, kidnapped or stuff like that? So it's a different world, man.
It's a different world. It's interesting that you say that because, back in the day, even in the mid 90s, we didn't have to worry about getting ran over by a vehicle if we want to go to a parade.
Whew.
Think about that. It's crazy, right?
It's wild.
Yeah.
I know I'm like you're a retired officer.
Yep.
I believe in guns. I have weapons all over my house. I love them. A gun won't kill a person. It takes a person to do that. And here in the United States, I know there's a lot of horrible things that happen with people using weapons to take other people's lives. But
Yeah.
and they talk about these other countries where they don't have weapons. But I'm like, yeah, but they learn. They use buses. They use trucks to run through people. They
Yeah.
use bombs. So you know, a weapon doesn't do that. The person behind that is the one who makes that a bad situation. But is always another person with a weapon who
Yeah.
ended that violence. They
Yeah.
forget about that. So but
Yep.
I'm sure to have that conversation with a person who's lost their child to gun violence would be a very difficult conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's pivot here. So,
Pivot. I
so
love
we
that,
so
man. I love that podcast. Shout out to Pivot, man.
oh yeah, man. That's Fred Taylor and
Man.
Shannon Crowder and my boy RC Ryan Clark, my frat brother.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Shout out to them, man. I love the
man,
podcast,
they
man.
may
It's
bring you
amazing.
on. I'm shit.
You know what? I've got a lot of people who will tag me and then tag them like, man, get this dude on. But I know they way up in the atmosphere with their guests and everything like that. So if that happens, that's great. But yeah, man,
Yeah.
shout out to those cats. I can spend hours watching their
Yeah,
podcast.
yeah, RC is my frat brother. It's like, yeah, he's
Is
really
that
representing.
right? Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. Yeah,
So
he's
let's
on
get to
one.
it. So I'm looking at here, I've always followed you. I always thought that you had, and I'm not zesty here. I always thought you had the best physique.
Appreciate it.
It was conditioned. Um, when I saw how the politics were played, when I learned that as soon as Ronnie signed with Joe
We
Weider,
yeah.
then he started getting first place. But I'm looking at you, looking at him. I'm like, he's Ronnie's he's defined, he's symmetry and everything, but he's not as conditioned as you were. And I'm like, and then he did not once but twice. And I remember you said something. You said, I'd rather be the person that didn't win, that they said it should have won, versus the person that won, they said
Yeah.
he shouldn't have won.
Yeah.
And that goes to tell you, man, resilience, because a lot of guys who know they came in right and did all they could do to get to the point, and they knew that politics played a role where they didn't get the nod. Sometimes they would say, fuck it, I'm shutting it down. What
Yeah.
kept you on the path? Like, I'm gonna still compete, because I think you competed the third year too, but you came in third place, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What made you continue even after?
I mean, first, I just realized, like I come from a martial arts background, and I remember my mentor, my trainer, my best friend, my father figure, he's been on record. Like, Flex was a million times a better fighter than he ever was as a bodybuilder. But I remember at that point in fighting, I had just had won the Mr. California in 1989. And then that Sunday, I won the California Championship in fighting. I was like, man,
Right.
what do I do? He's really philosophical. He would never answer me like, you do the one that chose you. And I'm like, come on, dog, which one do I do? And he's like, well, bodybuilders chose you. And I'm like, well, even back then, I was like, how could you say that when I'm such a great fighter? And he goes, listen, there's no money to be made in martial arts and movies back then. Back then, it was very disrespectful. You would have a great martial artist. He'd come out, do a bunch of flamboyant kicks to show that he has capability, and then a star of the show would knock him out with one haymaker, and that would
Mhm.
be it. Where at bodybuilding, you can make money guest posing and as a pro. So I started perceiving that. But the truth is, man, I wasn't smart enough to be a rocket scientist or a doctor. And I was a late bloomer in football, and this bodybuilding thing took off for me. So I was just all in. And I remember in '92, I kept trying to turn pro, and I was like, man, I need a job. I need to go back. I was going to go back and go back in law enforcement, and then I went up USA. But it was just, I had no plan B. I was just
Yeah.
fully into this, and at that time, I believed that I was capable of being number one in the late '90s, and I got it. It's political, it's business. I started to understand that. And what I did is, to continue competing, I had to click down and say, okay, number one is not an option for me. I'm going to just try to hold everybody off on that second place. So I kind of understood, like, still, this is the amount of money that I can make. Going and generating that type of money in a regular job was impossible. It's not going to
Yeah.
happen. I mean, obviously now the pay is different, with the Mr. Olympia, but back then, second place was 50,000. That's just for one show. So, you had jobs back then where you work a whole year and wouldn't make 50 grand. So it was never an option to go back and do that. I just had to click my mind that don't hurt yourself, don't put yourself in danger. Number
Yeah.
one is not an option anymore. So it became a business, and taking care of my family and paying my bills.
So, so I noticed that you won the Arnold. Was it 4 times?
Yeah, for
4 times. I always wanted to know this. Now you can tell me if you want to. What is the winning purses for back then for the Arnold? Like what was place number one was making? What was y'all? Because we
and
only see the first check for number one in
yeah,
Mr. Olympia. What is the winning
yeah.
purse?
So back then for the Arnold, it was 80,000. So
How
like
much?
my 80,000. So
That's a lot of
back
money, man.
in '93 when I first won the Arnold. So in '93 I did my first pro show was an Ironman, and that was in Redondo Beach, and I made 10 grand. And then next weekend I did the Arnold and made 80 grand. So that's 90,000. I mean, literally, I understood that's more than my entire family tree had made. But compared compared to now, like, Arnold just made a statement that he's raising the prize money to, I think, 170,000 for first place in the Arnold. So sometimes they get caught up like, God dang, man, that's life changing money.
Yes.
But I got to remember, back when the first time anybody won the Arnold Classic, it was only 10,000. So it's supposed to get better. They're supposed to make more money, just like NFL players signing bonus back in the '90s was a lot less than what they make now. You talk about hundreds of millions, but it's supposed to get better, man. But that's what it was back then to compare to now.
And the thing is, when we look at the numbers, we're not looking at the cost of prepping, the cost of food, the
No.
coach. Everybody had a coach. You had a coach, right?
Yeah,
The
yeah,
cost of
yeah,
coaches. And then we also got to talk about Uncle Sam.
yeah. Yes, sir. Yeah. I mean, like I had some friends who played in NFL. And I remember, a good friend of mine, his name was Roman Pfeiffer. played for the New England, the Patriots. And we were sitting there at the firehouse with my boy Rico, who was more closer to Roman than I was. And I was fussing, about how much I had to pay Uncle Sam, because what I didn't understand is I barely made it into the 33 percentile, where he was way above that. So I'm fussing about how much money I had to make. And he goes, yeah, man. He told me the amount he had to make. And I was like, what? Taxes? So I'm trying to equate how much you really make. And I'm like, well, what did you do? He goes, man, I wrote him a check for it. I was so pissed. And I'm like, you had that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Anything over, I think it's now is anything over 250,000 a year, you're taxed at 33%
Yeah.
bracket now, which is
Yes. And
higher.
that's barely making it. So it's a big difference, man. And barely making it into that percentile versus being in the middle of the upper echelon. Because, I mean, but the truth is, yeah, you got to be smart with your money. And, man, Uncle Sam comes in. I know Shaq talked about that, when he first made his money. He did this, he did that. And then he found out about how much he owed, and that changed his life and everything. So, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, this is a touchy one for me because it's still bodybuilding, and then we're gonna get into the main attraction.
Yes, sir.
And you got to bring them on camera too now, just for a little bit.
I will.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now we'll talk off air why I did it, but I've always been into fitness, but I've always been into fitness to stay in shape. I never really been into fitness to be on the stage up until the
Right.
last 5 years, the previous 5 years. I would say for me, the reason why I got into the bodybuilding, not only because I'm an extremist at everything I do,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
is it was some insecurities there too.
Of
There's a
course.
lot of insecurities in regards to the aging of my body, um, the way I'm in my 30s. I'm always looked at. I
Yeah.
walk in the room, they
Yeah.
notice me.
Yeah.
But as I gotten older and hitting that 50 mark, that 49 mark, Father Time became undefeated. And
Yeah.
I had a point in my life in 2021 where some issues happened. I said, fuck this. I'm gonna be better than this cat. I'm gonna look better than him. Okay. That was him. I'm gonna be better than that. And I made it a personal vendetta to look better than him, to do better than him, because he has struck a nerve in me that I can't really say online. He struck a
Yeah.
real fucking nerve.
Mm.
The downside of what I've done in regards to on my amateur level is that after I stopped bodybuilding and I dealt with the prostate cancer, I went from Clark Kent, who could be Superman any day,
Yeah.
to Clark Kent, who cannot be Superman.
Yeah.
And now I'm normal. It's like
Yeah.
my traps are not showing as much, my delts
Yeah.
ain't popping.
Yeah.
And I really think there's has to be something said because man, I was doing two or three shows a year, man. There was no time to come off of anything. I was always in.
Mm.
And what got me into depression mode is like, okay, I prep for 2 and 3 months every time. And then I'm on stage for like 45, 50 seconds, and then it's over.
Yeah.
So how do I deal with the depression after the show is over? And that's what I battle with because that was eating the same shit every day, doing the same exercise and having having structure. That made it, I
Yeah.
thrive in structure.
Yeah. Agreed.
Right.
Agreed.
And when that's over with,
How do you
what's
replace that?
yeah, you can't.
Yeah.
You
No, I
can't.
mean, I think, and I get what you're saying. Just getting older, you know, this hurts, that hurts. You don't look the same in the mirror. I called it, being a demigod and now being a mere mortal. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So now I'm just a mere mortal. But I know a lot of athletes deal with that identity thing because we're recognized. We feel a certain way. We wear certain, size of clothes. We feel our legs rub together. We feel the muscles contract. And kind of like what CT said, I felt the same way. I felt like, man, every step I took, the concrete just shook underneath me.
Yeah, my God,
So
yeah,
obviously, all the health problems that I had to deal with and stuff like that, it's difficult. It's difficult. It's a challenge. I know a lot of pro athletes. They found something else that they can put that same energy and drive into, like you do, with the dog breeding and everything like that. And I know that takes up a lot of your time. So, but still, it's an identity crisis. And, I'll leave it like this. I have a mentor. His name is Neil Spruce. Incredibly successful, and he used to be able to squat 600 pounds, and now he's in his late 70s. Body's withered away. Bank account has, like, I mean, like he jokingly says, man, I'm just a few hundred thousand from being a billionaire, from where he was homeless and this, that, and the other. He's the one who helped start Goes Gym Nutrition back in the days. And he says, still, as successful as he is now, incredible house. He lives just a couple of doors down from Wayne Gretzky, so that's his neighborhood. And he's like, still, I get up sometimes and I'll look in the morning, he's standing there butt naked in the mirror, like, these legs used to squat 600 pounds. And I'm like, Pop, you still do? He goes, yeah. So I don't think it's something that goes away. And to be honest, I think everybody deal with that. Sometimes we listen to women, they'll look at a younger lady and like, oh, just wait till you have a couple of babies. You're going to. So I think we all do in one ways or another. It's just how it manifests in us. But I do agree, when you are a specimen, yeah, it's a little bit taller of a ladder that you're going to fall from. And it is very depressing. I think, I mean, I talked to my dad, who's 74.
yeah.
He got a scholarship in football and track going to Fresno State. And just listening to him talk about his body feels and everything like that, I'm like, Pop, you still the Superman. You know what I mean? You didn't give me all the genetics. You still, I still look up to him for his achievements. But I think that's just something that we all go through in life. I mean, like I said, considering, like, the health problems that I've dealt with, and even, more closely losing a limb, yeah, that's been a major, major challenge. And it's caused me to have tremendous dark thoughts and dark
Yeah.
times. But, you know, for me, I just find strength in my Christ, my Father in heaven. And I understand, listen, Gerald, if me and you didn't go through some of the things we went through, how would we would be able to sit here on camera?
Right.
And there's so many other people who've been through what we've been through, or worse, and we can be a beacon of light for them because we've been through it. They can
Yeah.
live through our experiences. And what I call it is, like, life is going to deal you lemons no matter what. I understand that it's now my job to take these lemons, make lemonade out of them, serve it to people sweet. And if they're willing to drink from my cup, maybe they can learn from my experiences and be like, yeah, I don't want to go down that route. Or, wow, he dealt with that. I'm not the only one. And a lot of time is just understanding you're not the only one who's going through this. There's people that's been through this before us.
That's interesting you say that, because in this dog world, I've always said, and I said it over and over and over. I said, listen, people, I made all the mistakes, so you don't have to.
There you
I'm
go.
willing to, I'm willing to tell you about it. You know,
Hmm.
buying bad dogs, putting your trust in breeders overseas and not getting your money. You know, I made all the mistakes and I made them very transparent, so you don't have to. But let's talk about something that wasn't a mistake. I remember I watched a video. This is many years ago, man. And you was walking, was it Manhattan Beach or Venice Beach? You was,
It was Venice.
it was Venice, and you walked around like a god, and people was like, Dude, was that planned or something like that? And I'm gonna show some people this stuff right here. Was that planned?
Yeah, so that's back when American Sport Network was big in bodybuilding, and they would show all of our shows, and that was Lou's Wick idea. We were filming, and he's like, "Take your shirt off." I'm like, "Dude, no, just no, just take your shirt off and just walk down the beach." That
Right.
was all this ideal, and that was him catching people's reaction back then. And I know, like now, it's duplicated. So many bodybuilders and people will do that same thing just to catch people's reaction. But no, that was all planned. I mean, as you can see, I have suit pants on. I had a suit shirt on. He's
Yeah, I
like,
was
"Take it
tripping. I
off."
said, what's up with the pants, dog?
Yeah, I had a nice button-down shirt on. He's like, "Take it off, just walk and let it go." So he caught people's response. That was all Louiswick. That was all his idea. You
I
can even
thought,
see the microphone over there
yeah,
in the
I
corner
saw
right
it
there
just
hanging
right
down.
there.
Yeah.
And I was like, the reaction that he was getting from people, the people were like, oh my God, this guy should be on PT Barnum or something. Look at this. You see that? Oh my God. Tim Wan Han, you know what I'm saying? But no,
Yeah,
man,
no.
I think it has something to be said. Oh yeah, Stephanie, you want to say hi to Flex? Come on. Here we go. Steph, here she go.
Hey there.
How you doing?
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank
Let
you.
Okay.
hey, tell him to let you in there. You the other half of this, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Really, really.
You
I understand. I
you trying to get rid
understand.
of me quick. Just get my business.
All right.
Hi.
All right. So yeah, so my thing is that, man, had that been like on social media today,
Oh man, I know, I know. I was just, yeah, I just jokingly said a lot, just in me competing. Like, man, you were born in the wrong era, But again, what I fully understand and my belief is, everything happened for a reason and at the right time. So I was born
yeah,
in the right area.
yeah.
It wasn't meant to be for me to be doing that when social media came up and everything. And that's my belief. I don't put that on nobody else. I don't go and beat my chest about my belief or anything like that. But I fully understand that.
Hey, so where did you get this doing a split routine, doing all these cartwheels and splits, man?
You know what? That came from a pro bodybuilder back in the 90s. His name was Phil Hill. He had some of the biggest legs. I mean, just bigger than Tom Platz. It was just amazing. And he would always do the splits on stage. And he actually came and guest posed in my hometown, Fresno. And he kind of took a liking to me, like, "Hey, man, why don't you come have, lunch with me and my crew?" And, went and had lunch. And it was actually my mentor and
Right.
everything that in martial arts. We went and had lunch with him and we were talking. And I don't know how it came up, but, he knew that I fought. He's like, "Can you do the splits?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course." Like, "You ever did that on stage?" I'm like, "Dude, why?" I'm like, "Skinny, who cares?" He goes, "No, do it, man. Not everybody can do that." So I kind of just took that from him, but he was the first person I ever seen do the split. Shout out to Phil Hill back in the days. And I kind of just got it from him. And, even a name, it came from fighting and flexibility. And then later on, because I got into bodybuilding, it had dual purpose. But even that name Flex, it was a derogatory like comment that people made when they seen me, like, "Oh my God, here comes Flex again," because I had that little skinny man mentality while I'm walking
Yeah.
around, and I like, they just cut it short, like, "Up, Flex," and one of the announcers before I did a show was like, "All right, next up," he goes, "What do you want me to call you?" And I'm like, "I don't know." He goes, "I'm gonna call you Flex." And then, like, "Here comes Flex Wheeler," and the crowd just went crazy, and here comes this little skinny kid walking out in the crowd and everything. So that's kind of how that started.
Let me ask you this. When I look at pictures of me when I bodybuild, it's like, damn, I was looking real good. What do you think when you see yourself on old videos of you at your peak? What goes through your mind?
First, I can't. It's almost like Mike Tyson. When he says he looks at his fights, he's like, "I can't relate to that guy. I can't because I was obviously it was a cover up, and I'm honest now, but I was so full of myself I had so much ego and everything like that. Obviously, I really didn't. You know, that was a facade that I put on because I didn't want people to know how I really felt. But I can't really identify and to myself. A lot of times I have to cut the volume down because I'm like, dude, this dude is so arrogant. But on the other part of it, it's just is mind boggling. That I was able to achieve that. And what I regret most is I didn't appreciate that when I was there. I was always, what's the next goal? And after show, if I won, I like, okay, Saturday night I'd enjoyed and eaten pizza, but come Sunday, there's another show coming up the next week. Ain't nobody gonna be scared at me. So forget about that and put it in the past. And I'd always say, hey, when you retire, you can sit back and lick your wounds and reward yourself for everything you did. But the truth is, I just wish I would have slowed down and smelled the roses, enjoyed that journey of looking like that. Because I mean, me and a good friend of mine, Ronnie Coleman, who everybody know, sometimes we'll sit there and we'll talk and like, man, you remember this battle? Like, no, man, I don't remember none of that. I just remember the next show. So we don't even remember, but our fans remember more than we do. Like, in '92, you wear this color shorts and you did this song. And I'm like, did I? But yeah, it's remarkable. It's hard to relate, being that muscular and just being that strong, especially again, because some of the health problems I deal with, there's a downside to that because like every photo in my house, I have two legs. And now being an amputee, it's like, wow, man, how beautiful is just to have two legs,
Yeah.
you know. But then again, I'm also aware there's people who don't have no legs, no arms. So I still find my place, in this universe that I'm still blessed.
So my grandfather in 1978 lost his leg from gangrene. He had diabetes, right?
Yeah.
And he was a big man. We're talking about 6'4", 350.
Yeah.
And my question is, when you first had your leg amputated, did it still feel like you still had your leg?
Still no. Still no.
Really?
Yeah. So in hindsight, the doctors say we should have took your leg a long time ago, but they kept trying to save it all these surgeries. So it caused tremendous nerve damage. So I have a neuropathy, and then I also have phantom leg pain. So sometimes it feels like my toes are being pulled back. Sometimes it feels like they're being stuck with needles or a fire is lit underneath it. And it's, for like the first 2 years after I lost my leg, I was literally at a level 10 pain all day long. And it was just mind boggling. It was just crushing. I kept going back to the hospital probably like every 4 or 5 days just to get medicated because of the pain. But through time it has lessened, but still, no, man. I mean, seriously, um, just the thought of walking puts me almost in a state of depression because I know every step is going to be painful.
Yeah.
Even just putting on my prosthetic, it's painful. Even just laying in bed, sometimes I'm just laying there in pain. Like, how can I go to sleep? But one thing I I do is I don't believe in taking opiates at home. Now, when I'm in a hospital, I'll fight. I'm like, you're gonna give me it to me. I mean, and unfortunately, I've had so many surgeries that my pain threshold with medication is through the roof. They'll borderline have to put me in a state of not good
Comatose.
to
Yeah.
yeah to keep me out of pain. But I'll fight for that to because I'm like, hey, I'm here. You guys are gonna keep me out of pain, but I've just always had this mentality when I get home I can't do that. And I'm also a kidney transplant patient. So immediately, opiates put me into a state where I'm hallucinating. And I've hallucinated tremendously in a hospital, but at home, like say the doors were shaking my bedroom, my mind is like somebody's about to break in. I got weapons in my home. I need to be
Yeah.
clear minded. It might just be my wife walking in the door. It might be my son coming in the door. So I got to be clear minded. So I just always made a thought process of when I'm home, I rather be in pain and have a clear mind than vice
Yeah.
versa. So
But tell
yeah.
me this. Now we get some good stuff. I was going to ask you about the Dubai trip, but I
Yeah.
want to.
It was
Didn't you go to
amazing.
Dubai twice?
Yeah, I've been there 3 times now. 3 times. Yeah.
Damn. This
Yeah.
last time you went was because of what reason?
So the last 2 times I went was because of my company, Flexible Nutrition. So in Dubai, like a lot of things in Dubai, is one of the biggest health and fitness shows in the world, and it's held there every year. So, being in the nutraceutical world, you got to be there. So I've had a booth there the last 2 years, where I'll go and just meet and greet, shake people's hands. For me, it's listen to their story and how it affect them. But the main reason is to bring awareness to my brand, to get it bigger in the Middle East.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. So now we got this. We know you have the Instagram. People, if you want to follow Flex, go to official Flex Wheeler, the Instagram page. He also has a TikTok. I don't know how much he's on it. He's got a TikTok account. Type in Flex Wheeler. But the interesting one I want to talk about is your coach, your Flex Wheeler Nation, and you do coaching on there too, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I started coaching like towards the end of my career in the '90s, and I mean, I charge an extreme amount. I'm aware that I've been what I've been in the health and fitness world since I was like 16 years old. So if you look at that's over 30 years, if you look at that as far as education, going to school, that's a bachelor or whatever. So I have this pricing that I had because it would have to always be me. And like even my one-on-one training, it'll be like over $500 a session. So, but now with technology and I what I did is I was able to do a number of different training videos in a gym, almost every workout you can imagine, and we upload it to this program where it then spits out a repetition of various different workouts you can do. So you go in there, it's very in detailed. You got to fill out this information where you just tell the truth about everything, your lifestyle, your health challenges, and what it does. Instead of me sitting down there formulating how many calories and micros that you take in, it spits that out for them. So it allows me to be more accessible over a wider platform for a more reasonable price. And that's just technology now. Just like now we have this technology that we can use, that we can reach millions of people, where before you had to have a website, and you have had to, I mean, websites back in the days were expensive.
Yeah.
Now they got apps that will create a website for you. So that's kind of what my training program has, an ability just to be able to help a worldwide of people for a more reasonable price.
So my question is, are you still like giving the like when people sign up for this course, are they still communicating with you? Or
Yeah, 100%. So I see everything on the back end. So when a questionnaire is spit out to them, all the answers come back to me, and I see all those things. And then there's also like updates where it asks you, did you eat today? Sometimes, if the what is it called? If the algorithm see that you're not updating your information, it'll start requiring you to take a photo of your meal that you ate, and I'll be able to see all that stuff. And I can then send private message like, hey man, keep it up, keep up the great work, or you need to kick it in and get it in. But there is another level where you can click and have more personal one-on-one relationship with me. But yeah, I see everything on the back end of it, and I'm able to respond to people or change things.
so do you still do one-on-ones?
Yeah, I do. But like I said, you know, my price is up there. So I know it's not for everyone. I'm okay with that. I know that if I lowered it, I would probably get more work. But for me, I gotta stand on my, there's a saying, stand on your 10. I stand on my 5 because I only got 5 real ones, but I just have to stand on my value and my time. So it's more for me, my time has a value and I have to stand on that no matter what.
Yeah, I agree. It's like when people like now, I don't even they want me to break down their pedigree and can you tell me what you think it is? And it's sending me like then they start sending me 12 pages of shit. I said, how I can't do all this.
And
Or
that's
can you
just
help?
one person. So imagine if it's hundreds. How
Right,
can you
right.
do that? Yeah.
You can't. So let's get into the good stuff. Let's talk about out of all the dogs, first of all, you already had a dog. You had a what is he a Opelousas? What is it? What is
He's a
Achilles?
red nose a pit bull terrier that's mixed. Yeah, that's mixed.
And that's the one you said that will probably lick you to death before he bites you to death.
Yeah, he's just. I mean, for a pit bull, they're always known as super aggressive and everything.
Mhm.
He's incredibly docile. I mean, he never barks. He's like glue, follows me everywhere. I mean, normally if a person, knocks on a door, the dog will start barking. I probably only heard him bark maybe 10 times, and his bark is vicious. I'm like, good grief, man, if you were to use that thing.
Yeah, you'd
But
be a great deterrent.
yeah, but and the thing about it is, he's my service dog. So interesting, here in Vegas, there's a law that if a dog is your service dog, it can't be trained to be your protection dog. So, again, pet bulls have a very, very bad name. And I used to take him everywhere. And I remember one time I was taking him to the car wash and like, hey, we'll go ahead and let him in. But, we normally don't allow these dogs in. I'm like, first, be careful when you say that because he's my service dog. I don't need to show you no paperwork, but
Right.
I'm happy that you allow him in. But there's certain airlines that will not allow him to fly just because of his nature. So what I'm happy about is he is really docile, and when people around are like, "Oh my God, he's different," oh yeah, he's incredibly different. So I prefer for him to be loving. The way he is, because I wouldn't absolutely be able to take him nowhere. I mean, you got these little chows, these little tiny dogs. They're so vicious. If he was half that, I wouldn't be able to take him anywhere, which
Yeah.
leads us into Zeus and the reason why I
Right.
got him.
So tell me, what made you interested in the Doberman? Like I said, you could have got any breed. You could have got a Rottweiler. You could have got a Labrador or Labradoodle. You could have got you a poodle. But why the Doberman?
You,
Oh,
you, you, and just watching your podcast
yeah,
and everything that I see about Dobermans and learning that Dobermans were the only breeds that was bred to actually protect humans. And as I even discussed with you, and I was discussing it with my dad, Dobermans were probably the only dog that I feared, just their look, I mean,
yeah,
it's menacing. And I knew I had to get over that. And now having, Zeus as a puppy, I'm like, okay, how could I ever be afraid of this little dog? But I know that I needed to conquer that because they will be able to sense that
yeah.
as they get older. And I don't ever want to have no issues, with him at all. So, but it was you, 100%. It was you
Well,
and
let me
your
ask you this.
passion
I,
that you have for Dobermans.
I love the breed, and the thing is, I stay consistent with it. I've been rocking with Dobies for 16 years. I didn't jump ship and say, let me do Frenchies this year. Let me do Cane Corsos. Let me do Presa Canary. I was like, you know what? Let me stick to what I love because it fits my lifestyle. And let me learn as much as I can, but also teach people my mistakes. So you won't make
Yeah.
those same. So my question is, how was your first week of him, man, in the house away from his litter mates? The first
It
week?
it was great. Like I said, I don't know if we were recording at the time, but when I had a choice to pick, I'd ask about him. I was like, which one would you take? And you gave me the rundown on both of them, and I was like, Akitas is really passive, so let me get the hyperactive one. Man, he's beyond that. He is absolutely all teeth. When he was younger, when I first got him, more lovable, lickable, but his lick it turned into like jaws. I mean, them little shiny, razor sharp little tiny teeth or nothing. And he is just all mouth. He can't stop playing. He can't stop barking. He can't stop biting. And it's a complete different, genre than what I'm used to. But
Yeah.
we're enjoying it, and it's challenging me because I was really relaxed. I would just lay down on the couch. I wouldn't play with Achilles too much. But now with Zeus, oh yeah, you need to be on your 10 toes. And my wife has, for some reason, took more of a head role of being more active with him and disciplining him and stuff like that. But yeah, man, I mean, absolutely amazing.
How's that?
Absolutely
How's
amazing.
that food? How's that raw food? He's loving that.
Yeah, definitely. He loves it. We're trying to figure out how much to give him each day or whether to feed him every day. But yeah, he absolutely loves it. I mean, he'll just sit there because sometimes, with his kibbles, he would eat and come back and then eat and come back. With that, he'll just hog it all down immediately. A complete difference, man.
And then he
Complete
goes.
difference.
Then he goes to sleep after that. He do a
Oh
little
yeah,
running
yeah.
around.
Belly full, belly just hanging beneath him. And man, that little dude, he can crap. My gosh, man. I'm like, oh, just 4 or 5 times a day. And I'm like, man, and they like heaps. So I'm like, Jesus Christ, when this dude get big, man, it's gonna be like,
What? No, what? Right now, it's like that because he's a baby. We've had kids before. Like first thing they do when they eat, they
poop.
poop.
Yeah,
Right.
true.
So it'll change once he turns a year old. Then you cut the meals down to 1 meal a day. Right now,
Okay.
he needs to eat as much as he can because he's growing.
Yeah.
You got to bring him out, man. People got to see him.
Yeah, definitely. Sheena, let me get at my wife. Sheena, do you mind bringing me Zeus so I can bring him on camera?
Hey, Steph. I'm gonna bring mine too. Meet the brother. Meet his brother.
Yeah, I've been seeing the photos and the videos you've been doing with him. So you're actually taking him out to a dog park now?
No. I took him to a closed field where God does the training.
Okay.
Hey, Steph, bring my little man Gaston right quick.
Yeah, where did you get that name from? I
Gaston.
mean, yeah.
It was. It was. I think it's an Italian or Spanish name. It just sounded good. I mean, it's just. And then my aunt's married name is Gaston, and I just
Okay.
thought about it. And I was like, let me stick with that. I tried a lot of names, and Stephanie had a problem. Hey, boy, come here, come here, come here.
So does he bond with you more or your wife?
Me,
Okay.
bring him here, Steph.
Yeah. No,
Only because she was gone for almost 2 weeks, right?
Okay.
And it was just me and him.
Yeah. And that's the opposite. So when I got Zeus, immediately I had to leave town for a week and a half. So he follows Sheena more than he follows me and everything like that. And I'm like, man, but yeah, let me get him real quick. Yeah, I know. And she knows it too. She's so proud of it. She's so proud that he
She follows him everywhere.
Let me bring it in. Huh?
She follows him everywhere.
Yeah, he
He
follows
follows
her
her.
everywhere. Yeah, he'll cry for her and stuff like that. If we're both in a room and she gets up and leave, he'll follow her. If I get up and leave, he'll stay with her. And she's so proud of it because Achilles is more attached to me. So she's so happy that like big man
Look
here.
at him.
Look at him.
Look at
Yeah,
him.
look at
It's your
the
brother, man.
Hey,
How you doing?
good.
Look at him. Oh, there he goes.
So he got the donut on his neck to keep him from messing with his tape.
Yeah. Oh my God, because he's so hyperactive, he'll just sit there and go absolutely.
Does he look bigger now? Does he think Zeus
Yeah.
is bigger?
Does he look bigger to you?
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, look at him.
And you know I
Yeah.
like the dirty paws, right?
Oh, I know you do. But yeah, he'll sit there and absolutely go nuts, trying to get his ears off. And sometimes he'll rip them off. This is his third posting, and actually he ripped one off this morning, and she had to come back and redo them again. So yeah, he's hyperactive. I don't know why he's being calm right now.
Hey,
Normally
so
he'd be trying to get away from me.
has he had his third set yet? Third set of shots?
Second, so he's 12 weeks. She just gave him his shots yesterday. So his last is at 16 weeks, and then he'll give his rabies, and then he'll be able to go out to the dog park and everything.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. So yeah, we can't wait because here in Vegas, there's not a lot of houses with grass, and they actually pay us to do that. You know it. You got a place here
Yeah.
to do that quote unquote desert landscaping. So we only have a little patch of grass in the back. So we can't wait so we can finally take him out the dog park and let him stretch his legs because I know
Yeah.
he's gonna. So you say he's gonna be about 100 pounds?
You don't want them to be that big. It's probably going, I would say a good size is 90, 94 pounds. You want to
That's 100
always,
pounds, dog.
yeah. Well, 5 pounds is a hell of a different on a dog though than a human,
You're right. You're right. You're right.
and you don't want to mess up his mobility,
Yeah.
but you want to see those last two ribs, like the
Yeah,
oblique.
man. I mean, even that. So Achilles, I had to take him to the vet today, and he's only 63 pounds. And the guy said, he'll barely be 60. So, picking up Zeus and carrying him up the stairs at the nighttime, I'm like, this boy is heavy now, man. He's almost 30 pounds now.
Wow. So who's going to be 60 pounds?
Achilles is only 63 pounds.
He looks
and he's
bigger
6
than that.
years old.
Achilles looks bigger than that.
He's just a thick dog, man. He's just thick. But yeah, he's only 63 pounds. So imagine, like you said, 5 pounds is a lot. So imagine having a dog, over 30 pounds more than that. And I know Dobermans are just naturally tall. They're just naturally tall dogs, long dogs. So we're trying to figure out now, because we have a doggy door that Achilles goes in and out of, and it's not going to be no way that Zeus is going to be able to fit through that thing.
Change your door.
Yeah, man. It's going to be no way. So it's a lot of figuring out we got to do, because like we said, we don't have that type of backyard. We have a big swimming pool that takes all that up. Yeah, so once he turns 16 weeks, and we get his last dog shots, then we'll be able to take him out to the dog park and all that stuff, and finally, hopefully, be able to start getting him some training going on.
Yeah, I'm actually interviewing Angela Thursday from
I
Zenith
heard.
Venus. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard, and I heard about what you guys are trying to work out, man. And I can't thank you enough for all your support. Actually, Kaylin, she just came and redid his ears, so
Yeah.
shout out to her. Shout out to
Lauderdale Kennels, Gypsy, all of them.
Yeah, man, and they're just on point. As we did in the video, they don't just give you the dog; they give you a full care package and everything like that. And
Right.
even the other day, she came to the house and gave him his second pair of shots. We didn't have to go to the veterinarian. So, man, I'm overwhelmed and so thankful for all you guys' assistance, because it is a family. I mean, you always hit me up, man. How's he doing? How's he eating?
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, here he is. You're off on your own. I
Off to the
appreciate it.
races.
Yeah. And even like some of my posts, people are like, man, welcome to the Dobie family. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a following.
I'm surprised Stan hasn't hit you up, because Stan's a Dobie too now. He's a Dobie guy.
Yeah. I seen he actually just did a post where he had his Dobie in a picture, and I'm like, good grief, that's a big boy. Man, that's a big boy.
Oh, Stan, that's my coach. Yeah, man. So people, if you guys want to follow Flex, just go to YouTube, type in Flex Wheeler. He also has the online coaching program, flexwheelernation.com. And then he's on TikTok, so just type in Flex Wheeler. And also, if you want to go to Instagram, most people who are on Instagram, not on Facebook, most people on Facebook are on Instagram. But if you go on Instagram, official Flex Wheeler, he's the one that has almost 1 million followers. I'm jealous.
Yeah, right, dude, man. My followers are just different. They're mostly from out of the country and third worlds and stuff like that. So, listen, what I've learned is not how many followers you have, it's how many that rock with you.
Yeah.
And they're diehard with you. So you can have 30,000 followers and they all with you. That's 30,000 strong versus having 1 million and only 1% of that really rocks with you. So it's a different game to this. There's, as they say, there's levels to this.
Levels
and
to
I'm
this
trying to
shit.
learn.
Right. Hey, man, I want to say we're going to do this again, because I definitely want to tap onto that Bob Sapp shit.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't think Bob has no idea that I even had him in my sights, but
so we'll talk about it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, listen, I want to say thanks for taking time out. I know it's been a long day for you to be on my podcast. And I know you're going to be doing big things with this dog, man.
Yes, sir.
I'm
Yes,
serious.
sir.
And
Yes,
when I
sir.
come to Vegas now, I eat tomahawk. Okay.
I
eat
got you.
tomahawk. All
I
right.
got you. I
All
got
right.
you. And
All right,
I
people.
lastly want to say, listen, I'm proud of you. We haven't discussed your achievements and what you've done in the past. So I was going to get into some of those questions. We'll do that. And also with your podcast, man, you're just going at it. You know, I envy you because you're
Appreciate it.
constantly putting up videos. And I'm like, my gosh.
It's like,
this
does he
dude
ever
is on it.
sleep?
Man, you're on it. So, you know, again, I'm proud of you, man. Keep going. What you're doing is very informative with your videos, and now it's just not Dobies, it's all types of dogs of all walks of
Yeah.
life, and trainers and breeders and people who make raw food and stuff like that. You know, shout out to the homie that makes
Rich
the
the
raw
Berry.
food for you, Rich the Berry.
Rich
And
the
yeah, shout
Berry.
out to him. But I appreciate you, bro, and I see you. I see
All
what
right,
you're
man.
doing. I'm proud of you, brother. Keep going.
I appreciate it. Hey, man, like I always tell my people, I said, be resilient, but be responsible.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Until next
sir.
time.
All right. Peace.
All right. Peace. Man, I told you.